All right, all right, all right. Welcome. All right, got to clean up a little bit here. I got something I want to share with you guys first and foremost. Appreciate you all being here. All right, I got. All right, all right. Okay, Paso, who we got in here, man? Who we got? We got Jeremy from Maine first. Jeremy was first on our live stream the other day with Amar, and then he jumped off, and then he's like, "I'm back. What'd you guys talk about?" It's like, where you been? Come on. All right. So we got Jeremy here. Saeed is here, right? Saeed Muhammad. I haven't seen you around these parts, sir. Where are you coming in from, Saeed? Kim from California. First question is, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? And we know the answer to that is 34. 34 is the answer. Dan, hey. All right, we got, okay, so Kim has a couple questions here. We'll come back to that just a second. All right, good. All right, good. Lots of good stuff on here. So let's, before we get started here, let me just share with you. This is the seed mix, Mittlighter Magic Micro Mix, essential mineral nutrients that I got from growfood.com. I don't get any, it's not. I don't get anything, but you should get it. So what happens is, just like you need a certain level of nutrients, all right? And the problem in America is that we have insufficient vitamin D, insufficient vitamin B. We just don't have the proper nutrients that our bodies need. I don't think anyone would argue that. So plants are no different. Plants need a certain level of nutrients. And the problem with this stupid organic stuff, I'm organic, wow. With composting, all that is you have no idea what your plants are getting. You have no clue if they're getting enough, not just NPK, but all the other stuff that goes with it. And so what happened was Dr. Mittlighter had done the research and said, this is what plants need. Literally 16 different nutrients, of which 13 are basically fertilizer, and 3 come from the air. So they need 13 different nutrients they have to get, and they got to get specific amounts. So all this organic crap says, we're organic, we don't have synthetic, man-made nutrients, but the plant doesn't care if some nitrogen, for instance, comes from a bag, or if it comes from the freaking air, or if you pee on it. The plant doesn't care, it just wants the nitrogen. But there are other nutrients that the plant needs, and you don't know if your compost, worm compost, or tea compost, if your manure, you don't know. And so what happens is you have natural minerals that you specifically give to your plants, and it has everything it needs. Now, remember, too, a lot of organic gardeners, the problem with organic gardening and farming as a whole is just because they have the nutrients in there doesn't mean the plants can get them. They can't get them from the roots and bring them up. And so it might have all the NPK, you just name it, the magnesium, the manganese, all that stuff. But if it can't get it, it doesn't matter. So anyway, if I were you, I would get a bunch of these things. These are called Mittlighter Magic Micro Mix, and you need what else you need? You get these right here, and this will last you about a year. All right, if not more actually. And you got to mix in your own 13, 13, 13. That's NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, the NPK. If you have access to 16, 16, 16, you want it. But anyway, you follow the instructions how to mix it. And you just put it in a little 5-gallon bucket. You got the little twisty thing on there. Just leave it under your porch or somebody's hat, man. That's it. And then you have enough fertilizer for the whole year. And basically, one bag is probably going to cover you for the whole year, depending on the size of your garden. And 1 ounce per linear feet. It's just you don't use that much. Once a week, that's it. You water it in, and it's amazing once you realize the science behind what plants need. No different than the science behind what you and I need as human beings. But I don't want synthetic fertilizer. You're like, well, how else do you think you get it, man? I mean, where do you get stuff from? It's just rocks. It's natural. It's natural, and you need it anyway. So, very, very excited for this. All natural comes from rocks, exactly. So it might not be organic, but organic's USDA. You got to get the government to approve it. So expected analysis after mixing. Nitrogen, phosphate, potash is 13, 13, 13. Sodium borate is 0.5 of 1%. Magnesium sulfate, zinc sulfate, iron sulfate, copper sulfate, calcium, sulfur, chloride, and sodium molybdate. You remember Molly B? We had that in Arizona. Molly B was made for bombs, if memory serves. Molly B. I remember Arizona had tons of Molly B as one of the biggest export minerals that we had in Arizona. Remember that because I worked for the state mine inspector. I remember Molly B was a big one. But then, of course, they got to get the other things: hydrogen, carbon dioxide, and something else from the air. I forgot what it was. Pretty interesting stuff, though. So anyway, get that stuff at growfood.com. I got 10 because I don't trust at all that we're not going to be that there's not going to be some supply chain deficiencies going forward. I'm not as nervous Nelly as some of the guys I follow on YouTube. I do listen. I like my man Ice Age Farmer, and if you listen to him, let me just show you something real quick. And whether he's right or wrong, I don't. It's not the point. Is let's say he's 50% wrong. That's going to be bad. So I want to show you a video my man Christian did at Ice Age Farmer just today, and this is it's kind of frightening actually. We'll get into all my stuff here in just a second, but man, I tell you, just growing your own food, even on your patio, even in containers. I'm not subscribed to that. How do I not subscribe to him? All right, so let me share with you my man right here. Right here. So here's my man Ice Age Farmer, and look at this: Oregon bill to ban livestock, and UK outlaws manure. All right. Now, just because there's a bill to ban things doesn't mean it's going to be banned. I always get a little bit nervous when people start saying, "Oh my goodness, there's a bill in the legislature to do this, that, and the other." I said, "Well, let's see what happens when it comes to committee." But anyway, he talks a lot about the grand solar minimum and whatnot. And the interesting thing, I got to tell you, man, at the end of the day, the grand solar minimum, if we have cold, we were down to 28 degrees today. Actually, let me open my window. It's a little bit stuffy here. Hold on a second. All right. You know what doesn't germinate in 28 degrees? Is your seeds. They don't germinate that cold. Cold weather is not good for humans. So anyway, get your preps. You don't know where the food shortages are going to be. You don't know if we're out of the woods yet. My wife was just telling me before I jumped on here that apparently Sniffy Joe was on a UN video call on climate change, and he was wearing a mask, and the only one to wear a mask. All right, so let's see. Let's go into this here. All right, Dan and P. All right, can you explain again how a reverse mortgage interest rate works? How I see it is the rate charged at first may be 3%, but during the life of the loan, the rate can increase to maybe 6%. Yeah, I would think that 100%, Kim. I can't explain how it works in terms of like a variable rate. I'm not sure if you can get a fixed rate. I imagine you probably could. But yeah, I would think that's 100%. Now, remember, I'm telling you, the benefit of a reverse mortgage is my man Tom didn't go over with it as much as I would have liked, but the line of credit. So, Kim, let's just say you move to a red state, if you know what I'm saying. All right, so old Kim moves to a red state, and she goes, you know something? We're going to, because we're moving from a high expensive blue state, we're going to have cash money to put down on a home, not to put down, to buy a home in, we'll just say El Paso, Texas, for instance. We'll just throw that out there. So she's selling an $800,000 home. She could buy one for $400,000 El Paso. All right. So she has $400,000 to supplement her income in retirement. What she can do is still take a line of credit on that reverse mortgage. So if she has $400,000 is the fair market value, and let's just say she can get a line of credit because she's 62 years old of, we'll say 48% on that fair market value. So 400,000 times 0.48. So she gets a line of credit of $192,000. All right, LOC. And she hasn't borrowed anything from the reverse mortgage yet. She hasn't borrowed anything. So she has tons of equity, right? And she has a line of credit successful to her, completely tax-free. The interesting thing is that in this right here on that line of credit grows as the interest rates go as well. So it grows whatever the interest rate is. So if the interest rate is 3, now remember the interest rate does not include the mortgage insurance. So there's going to be 0.5% mortgage insurance, and there's three ways they factor in the interest rate. The interest rate is factored in the mortgage insurance at 0.5% plus the bank rate. I can't remember what it is, but there's three ways. So anyway, whatever the interest rate is, just say it's 3% for simplicity. And that interest rate grows. My understanding is if the interest rates go to 3 to 4 to 5, your line of credit does as well. Now, I mean, I know your line of credit grows with the interest rate. I don't know if it's a 1-for-1 or anything like that. But what happens is, if you don't borrow against it, now that line of credit's worth, $400,000, 15 years from now. I'm just throwing that out there. It's completely tax-free. So now that $400,000 you had left over from the sale of your California house, let's just say you blew through that because we go to Japan. But now you got $400,000 line of credit you can pull into tax-free. But Josh, I'm not going to leave my home to my kids. I hate to say it. Who gives a rat's behind? I mean, if that's important to you, there are more efficient ways to do it with just buying life insurance, man. Second to die life insurance. I've done videos. It's probably been 2 years since I did a video on second to die life insurance. I'm a huge fan. If leaving money to kids is important, there is no better strategy than second to die life insurance. I'm just telling you, especially if you sell a house and you got a lump sum on top of what you buy your other house with. So going back to Kim, let's just say she sells her house for $800,000 in California, moves to El Paso, Texas, buys a house for $400,000, has $400,000 remaining after the proceeds and after the buy of the new home, takes $100,000, dumps it into a one-time lump sum life insurance product that's attached to her and her husband, and that money will be there guaranteed. And on top of it, it's going to guarantee a death benefit that pays tax-free to the kids at the death of the surviving spouse. A lot to chomp on here, but I'm just telling you, it's tax-free. It's tax-free. So that means you can spend down your assets, your 401k, IRAs, all that crap. You can spend all that down, and you can spend whatever you want to do on a reverse mortgage, and you still got your estate covered to leave something to the kiddos. I'm telling you right now, I hear this all the time. Well, I want to make sure I leave money to my kids. Their house is the worst possible thing to leave because it doesn't grow very much other than basically the rate of inflation. And B, it is a probated asset. I mean, a house transfers not very quickly and seamlessly. It's not, I mean, it doesn't take that long, but it's still got to go through probate. You still got to have a change of deed. And you still got property taxes and all that. On top of that, you don't know what the real estate value will be. There's so many things that a house is not the best asset to leave. If you want to leave assets or money to your kids, get a second to die life insurance policy, and it's the only way to go. So to answer your question, the interest rate can go up. And then, of course, if you have a debt against that loan, the amount of that debt will go up as well, too, for sure. Hope that helps. Then the home, remember, but the home may or may not have principal. But remember, even in like when you're 82 years old, I think you can only borrow like 62% against the house equity. So you can't borrow. I mean, the older you get, the more you can borrow. But I don't think you're ever borrowing like 80%. I think the max like 62 or something like that, Kim. So, I mean, the interest rates have to go sky high for you not to have any equity left over. Theoretically, it could, but it's not so much the interest rates. I think it's more because your house did not appreciate, if that makes sense, or your house went down in value. Like where my better half is from. That neighborhood is MS-13 and infested now. So if she were still living in that neighborhood now, we wouldn't be able to give away that house that she grew up in because MS-13 is in there all over the place. So that's not because of the interest rates, it's because of the neighborhood, if that makes sense. Do I think Biden will change Medicare to age 60 and how will it affect the program? That's a great question, Dwayne. I'm telling you, man, I mean, I'm a populist more than I'm a conservative. That's for sure. And I used to be a lot more anti-tax increases and all that stuff. Frankly, I find this country is being divided into the haves and the have-nots, and we're all haves in the overall scheme of the world. I don't have any hesitation to grant you that. But you have a bunch of people, the wealthy elite, no other way around that. And then you got a bunch of regular people who are just trying to get by. And then you got a bunch of poor people who are happy not to work, and they're happy for UBI. And as such, the middle class is being just squeezed. There's just no two ways around that. And the biggest way they're being squeezed is healthcare. That's just all there is to it. Now, remember, health insurance does not equate to healthcare. You just look at Canada and the NHS to recognize that. Health insurance does not equate to healthcare. I would have no qualm. Just talked to a guy the other day who lives in Mexico. He's one of my clients every year. We do an annual review, and he talks about the Mexican healthcare as other people have. They got two systems, man. One for, the people who don't have any money, and one for people who are willing to pay more. And I think that's what America has to do. If you want to pay more, we'll have a better service for you. If you just want the basics, well, basics will be free. Just falls from the sky. But I think it's I think the Medicare at 60 option or some semblance of that, I just think that's a steamroller, man. And the thing is, at the end of the day, regardless of what I think, it's not. Look, man, at the end, Medicare is dead to rights. There is no money for Medicare. It's gone, as we sit here today. And by the way, remember, Medicare only pays for 80%. And so unless you have Medicare Advantage or if you have a Medicare supplemental policy, you are still on the hook for 20%. On top of the fact, you're still on the hook for the premiums, $150 for Part B, $50 for Part D, and basically another $150 for your supplemental policy. So you're still on the hook for $350 a month. And some out of pocket and copays and all that. So it's not like it's free. It's not like it's cheap. It's still $350 a month just for Part B, Part D, and a supplemental policy. And that doesn't cover. I mean, I guess you could get some Medicare Advantage policies, but that doesn't cover. Was it eye, ears, and teeth? Right? Eye, ears, and teeth. That doesn't cover dentists or eyes or ears. So there's still a lot to be desired. From a catastrophic perspective, Medicare is there, but again, it only covers 80% unless you buy a supplemental policy or Part C. So this whole idea that Medicare is great, it's free. I was reading a letter to the editor about 10 years ago, and I was just, my mind was just boggled the idiocy this was. This lady says, Medicare is great. I went and I got, quadruple bypass, and it didn't cost me anything. It was free. I said the level of absurdity for that person, and I emailed to see if they post my letter. Maybe this is 15 years ago, hell 20. And I said, oh, so the doctors work for free? The hospital didn't turn on the electric bill? No one charged the electric bill? All the stuff they used, the equipment was for free? Because that's freaking stupid. It's not for free. Someone's paying for it. Anyway, so Medicare is dead. I mean, everyone's worried about Social Security. Medicare has got no money, man. There is no money. So it expanded. It sounds good. It's very politically alluring. I'm telling you right now, it is. The problem is, how do we pay for this? We just keep printing money. Well, I mean, to be perfectly honest, so that's the way we're going to do it because we don't have any money. There is no money, some big cash account sitting there just waiting to cut checks. What they'll do is they'll raise taxes and they'll expand it, and that's coming down the pike. We probably won't go the full. Democratic socialist that the idiots want to go to, but we're certainly going that route more than we're going to a libertarian route for damn sure. But I was reading the other day that in 1970s, the early 70s, when the OPEC crisis happened and the oil and gas shortages and whatnot, do you know that Gallup took a poll and the majority, if not the vast majority of Americans were okay with price controls on oil, the price of oil and gas? And I don't know how that, it's nuts to me because, again, Jimmy Carter, to his credit, was the first to really deregulate industry. He deregulated over-the-road trucking, stock commissions, he deregulated airlines, a number of things. But the public wanted more price controls because the public said, oh, all it has to take is Richard Nixon, Gerald Ford, or Jimmy Carter to say you cannot charge more than $1 a gallon for gas and we'll be fine. And somehow, the problem was that was before social media. That was when basically there's just three, news networks, your local paper. In Maine, we had two. Well, I guess just one now I think about it. And they all aligned with the Associated Press. So in some way, even though the media was liberal back then, it wasn't as blatantly liberal as it is today. And so the media tried to be more fair. And look, Walter Cronkite was a left-wing ass. We all know that. He hated guns. He lied about the Tet Offensive. He was a scumbag. I don't know why everyone says, we need another Walter Cronkite. I said, do you know who that clown was? Oh, my goodness. But at the end of the day, the media tried harder to be more fair. Now they don't. And so now it would be easy as pie. Just look. 60% of Democrats 60% of Democrats today think that you would have a 1 in 2 possibility of hospitalization if you contracted COVID. So the majority of Democrats think that for every 2 people that get COVID-19, one of them is going to the hospital. That's just incredibly absurdly stupid. And sadly, the media is propelling that because fear sells clicks. It does. We know this for a fact, and it promotes Democratic Party because the Democratic Party is the party of safety. We are here to protect you. So at the end of the day, I'm sitting there thinking the media can easily get up a rabble rouser and say, I mean, look, if they want to, they can freaking barnstorm, and next thing you know, we got Medicare at 60. How's it paid for? I don't know. But just because we have it doesn't mean you have health care. Rations, my friends, rations. Just look at Canada. It's a cluster. I tell you, you need some quick. You wait in line, citizen. Just look at it. You don't have to trust me. Just go read it on your own. It's nuts up there. And that same thing's going to happen here, which is why the Canadians pour over the border to the American system. It's nuts. So anyway, that is going to happen. I really believe it is. And the level of care will drop like a brick in water simply because there won't be enough to service. There's just not going to be enough. There's not enough care providers to provide the care that more and more people need. It's just basic supply and demand. On top of that, they're going to have to do what they always do with Medicare, is they do rationing of services and, of course, limits on how much you can charge. We all know this. So what's going to happen is they'll have it. It sounds good in theory, just like Obamacare. And then, after about 10 years of a lot of people going through freaking hell's, bells and whistles, and it just didn't work, there'll be some change, which will be hopefully a voucher system added to that. So we go to a 2-tier system like Mexico. That'd be my hope. But there's some serious political headway to get Medicare at 60 that I think that if any Republican were to stand against it, they better have something to offer instead, because I know I get it all the time. People say, I'm a Republican. I truly believe these people, but if they could do Medicare for 60, I would vote for them. I've heard that for 25 years from right wingers, like real right wingers, more right than I am, and say that's the one thing, man, I got to get on my crappy old job, but I can't because healthcare, and I have some issues. And I can't blame them. All right, P. Diddy says, what significance does the age of 60 have on Social Security? Is it the last year that 35 years of earnings are counted to figure your amount? Okay, so that's a great question. The big hubbub was back in May. My man Andrew over at American Enterprise Institute, AEI. I can't remember his name. I interviewed him twice. I follow him stuff. I can't remember his name. Andrew Biggs. Yeah, Andrew Biggs. Is it Andrew Biggs? Yeah, I think it's Andrew Biggs over at the AEI. He had written an article, which was the first guy to had write it, saying if the AWI, the average wage index, drops like the initial projections were, people who were born in 1960, all right, whose first year of eligibility would be 2022, could face a significant health or a Social Security decline in their benefits, because the average wage index on that year you turn 60 determines, because after you turn 60, there's no more average wage index anymore. I know this is going to be complex, so all can be, but just hear me out for just a second. So you turn 60, your average wage index at the year you turn 60 determines what the indexing factors were for those 35 years of all of your total average indexed earnings, which is nuts. So that 1 year can basically go back and reduce the previous year's indexing amounts, which is insane. It's insane. And then once you hit 60, you no longer have AWI increases. It's just cost of living adjustment for your benefits. So the year you turn 60, your earliest year of eligibility is 62, which looks at the year you turn 60 as the last year where you get AWI. I know it's confusing. It's nuts. It's stupid. However, the people who turned 60 last year could have been in a big conundrum if we had a huge economic shutdown. Thank the good Lord we did not. And thank the good Lord we had mass growth in third and fourth quarter to compensate, if not overtake outright, the losses we had in the second quarter. So, P. Annie, let me tell you, man, a lot. And this friggin' ticked me off. I'm going to chirpy mood today. So part of my frustration, but this ticked me off because I saw people even writing about this in November and December and even until this year. It friggin' pissed me off, part of my friends, because that man, and they're using the chief actuary of the Social Security quotes when he testified to Congress in July 9th to be precise, of 2020. That's before Q2 numbers came out. Certainly before Q3 and Q4 numbers came out. So the assumption is that all the economists were saying this, we're going to have a massive decline of 35% in growth in GDP in the second quarter. And I think it was like 32%. But then they said we're going to hit bottom, and then we're going to just gradually grow up until 2021. We'll get back to whatever. It didn't turn out like that at all. And so all the projections from the chief actuary were we're going to have massive decline in 2020 as a whole. The Q2 of 2020 was going to be down 35%. Q3 maybe down another 5%, and Q4 started to grow back up. And if that were the case, you would have had a huge decline in average wage index if you turned 60 in 2020. Didn't work like that, man. It wasn't like that. Q2 was about 32% down or whatever it was. Pablo, what a nut. Q3 was freaking gangbusters. Now remember, if I lose 32%, a 32% increase doesn't put me on even Steven. Remember that. So always remember, if I lose 25%, I got to get 33% to break even, if that makes sense. So if I'm down 25%, I need 33% to get back to even. So if we lost 32% in Q2 and we gained 30% in Q3, we're still down. All right, which is what happened. But no one knew that was going to happen in July when the chief actuary testified. No one knew that. They all thought that we're going to keep going down about another 5% or so in Q3, which absolutely did not happen. In Q4, we're up, I can't remember. But anyway, Q4. So at the end of the year, the GDP was down a little bit, not nearly to the extent as what everyone thought. It's more like a 2009 structure. And I did a video on that. I don't have it near me anymore. In 2009, where oh, hey, what's up, babe? Hey, there's my wife. Hey, can you plant one? You do not look awful. Oh, okay. So, hey, just real quick, what's your favorite color? Purple. Purple. Oh man, that's it. I wish you'd be that. One time, I was like this close. One time, to saying, "Can I interview you for my YouTube channel?" She goes, "All right." I forgot what happened, and then like later on, she says, "I haven't got done up yet." I say, "Oh, you look so pretty. You don't need to do all that crap." Yeah. And like I said in the video today, I don't know what I brought to the table because I got all the goods in that. That's for sure. So thank you, good Lord. Oof. All right. So anyway, I wouldn't sweat too much, Peony. I just don't think it's going to be a big deal after all. Lots of blood or ink was spilled to get people scared because that's what people do all the time. They like to scare you for clicks. Remember, if it bleeds, it leads. It's all clickbait. All clickbait. Now, Andrew Biggs hasn't spoken about it because he saw it initially, and then it just, I can't speak on his. And I love Andrew Biggs, a great guy, the best brain in Social Security there is. But he hasn't spoken on it since, so I think that's water under the bridge now. You'll probably get a little bit of a decline for 2020. Again, it'd be like a 2009, which wasn't much. It was, your AWI went down, I think, like 1/3, maybe 1/2, 1%. It just wasn't a big deal. Now, my man Devin Carroll, I agree with him 100%. This is freaking stupid. There should be never, ever, ever, just because you happen to be born a certain year where the government shuts down everything, that your Social Security is negatively impacted for the rest of your life. Because you still pay the taxes. You still did everything you were supposed to do. It's freaking nuts, man. There should never be a decline in AWI. It should always be benchmarked at 0. I could not agree with that more. It's insidious. It's nuts. And no freaking Republican or Democrat, Congress, president, or anything has ever tackled any of this because they just don't care. Because they're too busy virtue signaling about Black Lives Matter to give two craps about middle-class Americans with their Social Security. And they can all kiss my big fat behind. Yeah, freaking pissed off. So I'm like, wait a second. We're listening to stupid Ilhan Omar, blah. And I'm like, and while people's freaking AWI was looking like it might be down 13%, it's freaking nuts, man. And not one piece of legislation. John Larson or something like that from, I forgot where he's from, Pennsylvania, had a legislation piece. Look, I don't like it, but it's better than nothing. My hair's all messed up. Sorry. Freaking. All right. Why are the years after? They are. Dan and PW, absolutely they are. So remember, they take your top 35 indexed years. So if you're from the year 60 to 70, if those years are bigger than the years from when you were 20 to 30, those years count. In fact, what's her name? Elaine Floyd, who I follow on Horse's Mouth. She talks about Social Security because she was a stay-at-home mom, if memory serves. She's been in the professional workforce for about 20 years now and just kicking butt, taking names. She's like 73. She's a divorcee, a widow, and she's on Medicare now. So she was telling me, I interviewed her 2 years ago, that she was working into her 70s, and because that was her income, was replacing the goose eggs when she was 35, it was actually increasing her benefits. Social Security recalculated her benefit with her new numbers, and we're giving her a raise. It wasn't much, but it's more money than it was. So absolutely, they do count your years after 60. By all means, yes, sir. Oklahoma, center of the world, right on. Broker Harry. Okay, now look at Harry. So not only do I say I got the better half of this relationship, look at Harry and his beautiful. Dudes, I don't know what chicks see in men. Men are ugly. I don't get it. Let me look at Harry. Would imagine kissing that guy? Imagine kissing this guy? But imagine, Harry, his wife's good looking. My wife's good looking. I don't get it, man. So it ain't your looks, fellas. It's your ability to provide for your women that's attractive. So don't be a soy boy. Just go out there and be a regular dude. I'm telling you. You don't have to be like, oh, I'm a male feminist. Everyone's on to you now, man. There should never be another male feminist in the history of mankind because we know you're a faker. We know what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? We know what you're trying to do, and everyone's on to you now. So just be a regular guy. So yeah, I work. I don't care about your social justice. My job is to protect my family and provide for them, and to be a wonderful husband and a loving dad. That's what your job is. Nothing more, nothing less. You do that, you'll get all the ladies you possibly want. Stop being a soy boy. Nuts. Brokerage account withdrawals aren't taxable income. Am I understanding that correctly? No. Negative. Oh man, no. Brokerage account withdrawals absolutely could be taxable income. It just depends if you have gains in there. So you got $10,000. You bought a Tesla. Now it's worth $8 billion. If you sell $1 million of that, the first 10,000 is tax free because that's what's called your basis. But anything above your basis is taxable as short or long-term capital gains. Absolutely. So you just got to know what your cost basis is. Your cost basis. That's how much you bought a position for. Now, remember, one of the reasons why I cannot stand Sniffy Joe's idea of getting rid of the step-up basis, when you have dividends and capital gains income, if you have some mutual fund, all right, so mutual funds and ETFs have dividends sometimes, and they'll have distributions of capital gains. If you reinvest those, all right, let me just draw an example here. I put $10,000 into we'll just say a mutual fund, $10,000. I get $2,000 as a dividend and capital gain. All right, so I put $10,000 in. I get $2,000 this is a non-IRA, non-401k, and all that. I get $2,000 of income, be it short, long, or dividends. This income is taxable without question. All right, so I get a 1099. Say, hey, Josh, you got a 20% distribution as income that you have to pay tax on, either short, long-term, or qualified dividends, or ordinary dividends. And your 1099 will show you that. So I either take that money out as cash and I just go spend it. You know what I'm saying? I go buy some whitener on my pearly yellows, or I reinvest it. Either way, I'm paying tax on it, regardless if I spend it or regardless if I reinvest it. However, if I reinvest it, all right, so that 10,000 goes back to here plus 2. So I'm reinvesting it. So now my cost basis is $12,000. because I put that money back into the portfolio, if that makes sense. So it went back in. So now my cost basis is $12,000 because I had to pay tax on it. Hope that makes sense. So anyway, what happens here? So now we have a $2,000 distribution. We started the portfolio with $10,000. We have a $2,000 distribution that I reinvested. Let's just say the portfolio fell 10%. All right, so now I'm at $12,000, and we fall 10%. So now it's at $10,560. All right, so we lose 10%. Now it's at $10,560. Everybody with me so far? So this is what I have right here. That's my fair market value. My cost basis was $10,000. I got a dividend and capital gain that I reinvested to make my cost basis $12,000. I took a 10% hit because Sniffy Joe sniffed all over me, and then I have my value right now is $10,560. So if I sell this right here, have I made money in terms of taxable basis? Have I made money for which I have to pay tax on? So again, my original cost basis was $10,000. I had $2,000 of dividend distribution that I reinvested. So my adjusted cost basis is $12,000. I lost 10% of the portfolio value. Now I have account value that's worth $10,560. I sell this. Do I have to pay capital gain taxes on that sale? Let me see what you guys say here. All right, so let me see if anyone knows the answer to that. Because this is hugely important, amigos. I'm telling you, hugely important. I hope that makes sense where I'm going with this. Because I'm telling you, one of the things I've seen a million times this Sunday. All right, so Rebecca says you will have to pay tax on that $560. JJ Swanson says no, and Spectator says no. Jennifer says $560. Cost basis is $12. Right, so all right, okay, good. So it's about half and half. So we'll stop there. You guys who said I had to pay taxes, that is incorrect. That's incorrect. Actually, I'll take a loss. Exactly. Steve says cap loss, 100%. Right on. It's a capital loss. And this is where it gets confusing, guys. Trust me, I've been in this business a long damn time, pardon my French. I'm in one of those moods where I'm not I don't cuss, but I don't, I guess some people say, damn, it's cuss. I don't, but some people do. I get that. Just, I apologize. But I'm in one. I'm not in a bad mood. I'm just in a mood when I talk about taxes. It infuriates me. Actually, when I talk about the opportunity that the conservatives had and they just let go, now Sniffy Joe can just run rampant on very favorable, positive political shenanigans, and Republicans are handcuffed because they're freaking idiots. And you could have seen this a mile away if they just pull their head out of their butt and say, oh, there's a middle class who supports us. But no, we got to protect the rich who hate us anyway. They can all kiss my big fat behind. All right, so check this out. So 10,000 plus 2,000, because that means my cost basis is $12,000. $12,000. If I sell it for $10,560, I actually have a capital loss of whatever that is, $1,400 or something like that. I actually can take a loss of $1,400 because what happened was that right there, because I reinvested it, go back into the shares, which increased my cost basis. This is the original cost basis. No one cares about that anymore. As long as you're reinvesting your dividends and capital gains, your original cost basis, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters is your current cost basis is $12,000. That's all that matters. Now, don't forget, you already paid tax on that $2,000. I mean, that has already been taxed. It cuts like a sailor and I'm a Marine. I used to cuss like an infantryman because I was an infantryman, and I was also from Maine. And Maine, everyone cusses. It's kind of funny, and I don't anymore. Every now and again, I'll drop an F-bomb. My wife does every now and again, too. It's probably once every month or something like that when we're exasperated on masks. But other than that, we just don't. Maybe it's because I'm a teetotaler. I don't think my wife has drank a beer since probably New Year's Eve. I've had a 6-pack down there of IPA. It wasn't Sierra Nevada. I'm not sure what I haven't had it. We had it for New Year's Eve. And we had a 6-pack of Guinness, which I love Guinness. I think the Guinness was sitting there for like 3 years. She had it in there because she's making some Irish stew one night with Guinness. And it's funny. Once you don't drink, you don't even get. I don't want to say tempted. Like, oh, it's one of those things. You're like, you kind of reminisce the beauty of drinking a pint of Guinness. But you don't like sit there and say, I got to drink one, because once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, and there is no such thing as just one beer for this guy. No such thing. It'd be like saying just one thing of ice cream. Because man, anyway. So going back. So now you get a capital loss because you've already paid taxes on the $2,000. All right. So what I want to show with you, though, in an IRA, this is so critical. In an IRA, what is our cost basis? And I'm saying a fully deductible IRA. Our fully deductible IRA, our cost basis is 0. That means everything that comes out is taxable as ordinary income, if that makes sense, from your very first penny. And I'm assuming there's no non-deductible IRAs. All right. So basically what's happening here is, in this case, we put in $10,000. We made a contribution. We deducted it. We put another $2,000. We made a $2,000 contribution. We deducted it. And so we have a $12,000 cost basis. I mean, $12,000 fair market value, right? But at the end of the day, it's only worth $10,560 because we're down 10%. It doesn't matter what your cost basis is, because this is all coming out as ordinary income. It doesn't matter. All these people get wrapped up in my cost basis. It matters not, man. It literally matters not what your cost basis is in your IRA, other than for you to say, I've done well or I've done poorly. But other than that, it doesn't matter. From a tax perspective, this is the only thing that matters. Now, I want to be clear, too, just while I'm yapping here. On your IRA or 401k, I've seen this a million times. We used to have this at USAA, and it used to drive me up the wall. Going back to that same scenario. Some guy puts in $10,000 into S&P 500. Just use that for an example. Pays a $2,000 dividend. All right, so he put in $10,000 in the S&P 500 in an IRA. It pays a $2,000 dividend. All right, so he has a 12. So what the statement says, or the online says at USAA, it says he has a cost basis of $12,000. Well, he doesn't. He has a 0 cost basis. Why? Because it's all deductible. But at the end of the day, he has a cost basis. What USAA is showing him, he has a cost basis of $12,000. And so now, if his portfolio is down to $10,500, oh, this is crazy. It looks like he has a loss of $1,500. The software says he has a negative of $1,500 because the software just showed he had a cost basis of $12,000. The portfolio is only worth $10,500, so he's down $1,500. Oops, let me get that off there. Sorry. And I was like, I'll never forget this one guy. He died. He's a good guy, Charlie from South Carolina. I love this guy, and he was. I haven't made any money in the S&P 500. I said, that's just not true, Charlie. He goes, I haven't. Look at my statement. And I said, no, it doesn't make sense. So I looked at a statement. I said, you're right. I said, no, this doesn't make any sense. And so I dived into it. And I said, I see what they're doing. They're showing him as his cost basis is $12,000. And because the portfolio was down for whatever 1 year that was, his portfolio value was worth less than his cost basis. So on his statement on the software there, it looked like he was down $1,500. It said in red with parentheses, you're down $1,500. I said, Charlie, how much did you put in there? He said $10,000. I said, did you put anything else more? He goes, no, just put $10,000 in 1996, whatever it was. I said, how much is the portfolio worth? He goes, $10,500. I said, so you put in $10,000, yeah, it's worth $10,500, yeah. So are you down? Have you made money? Well, the answer, of course, is yes. He was up $500. But his confusion was spot on. He's like, but it says I'm down $1,500. And the reason was because USAA and other brokerage firms too, in their idiocy, said that this $2,000 of capital gains and qualified dividends increases cost basis from a tax perspective. But it was dumb because it was an IRA. And I was like, no, that didn't happen. It's literally not a tax perspective because it's an IRA. And the whole thing was nuts. Anyway, he still didn't quite believe me. But I mean, I looked at it, I said, dude, you have more money in your account than you put in. That is literally factual. You cannot argue that. But he was adamant, like, well, why would USA essentially be so stupid? I said, do you know how big corporations work, man? Do you know how they work? It's kind of like when I was at Costco yesterday, and the lady said, I was talking to the lady there who's scanning me up. I said, how are you going to get old people to put heavy stuff up on the scanner to scan it when there's no scan gun? She goes, yeah, management thinks all it takes is one of us to man these 8 self-checkouts. I says, management is not that bright, are they? She goes, no. I've been here for 35 years. No, not that bright. The idea that management thinks that there'll be one lady, and this lady has been there for a long time, is going to be able to lift, 100-pound things of soil up onto the scanner, scan it through the thing, and put it back down for 8 different things. Anyway, all right. So I hope that helps. Let's see here. All right. So I missed something here. So why does it always stop my? Oh man, it sucks, dude. All right. All right. So my man retired 2019 is 58 retired, as we can tell by his. I'd like to use a 4% withdrawal rate. Is that too high given my age? I don't think so. I like 5%. I don't think so at all, man. So nope, I don't think that's too high. Richard Bartlett says I retired at 62 and now 65. Should I wait until to take my Social Security? I would. I don't know your circumstance, but remember, my friends, when they did Social Security, I tell you this, I got to show this to you because I think a lot of people say, oh, Josh, Social Security, I just want to get it now, blah, blah, blah. Treasury. Yeah, right here. All right. So this is Sniffy, Sniffy, Sniffy Joe. Sniffy, Sniffy, Sniffy Joe. He's coming for your taxes because his name is Sniffy Joe and he's dumb as a rock. Kamala, dumb as a rock. And because I said a white guy's dumb as a rock, I'm also can inherently not be racist by calling Kamala dumb as a rock too. I kid you not. I had a guy said, you're racist for calling Kamala dumb as a rock. I said, dude, she is. She's dumb as a rock. And Sniffy Joe is dumb as a rock too. Does that make you feel better? Well, you're only saying that because I called you racist. I said, okay. That's the first time that was ever happened. Jeez, man. It's like, I don't think I can go. Let's see. Oh, man. Does it go back to 19? No, it doesn't. All right. So let's go to my man. All right. Here we go. All right. So we're going to go back to, oops, hold on just a second. Sniffy, Sniffy, Jiffy Joe, dumb as a rock. Sniffy, Sniffy, Sniffy Joe, dumb as a rock. All right. Let's see here. We're going to go back. Bucket strategy right here. All right. All right, cool. All right, so we're going to go back and we're going to look at 10-year. Actually, hold on just a second. Let me get what I want up here. Hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. That's good. Here we go. All right. Good. All right, so let's go. This is my man Daniel Kuhlbert's website, 55e.co, 55e.co. I get no commissions or anything for sending you to buy his stuff. I love it. I think it's well worth your time to buy it, and you should. So anyway, just FYI, there's no quid pro quo or whatever it is that I get from saying you should go buy it or at least look at his software, but you should. 55e.co. All right, so here are the 10-year treasury rates. All right, so we can even look at, let's look at 1 month. It's fine. All right, so we're going to look at 1 month treasury rates. When Reagan signed the 1983 tax increases on Social Security that was presented to him by Democratic Congress, what were the interest rates at that point? And if we go to the 10-year treasury, that's Japan right there. So we go over here, and we're going to look at 1983. Right here. 1983. Oops. Oh, man. Right there. 8.8%. Oh, interesting, because the delayed earnings credits give you a 8% increase each and every year you delay taking your Social Security. I wonder if the 8.8% had anything to do with the 8% delayed earnings credits. Voila, of course they did. Of course they did, amigos. Do you understand? You're getting 8% a year by deferring Social Security plus whatever the cost of living adjustment is. Because that was based on the interest rates when they did the 1983 law to tax Social Security of 8% of it when the interest rates are 8.8. Oh man, don't blow that. I just it really frustrates me because I get some people have all kinds. I get, look, I'm not going to chastise you. I don't care. It's your money. But my lands. So now we go to 2000. Does it get? Oh, look at that, my man. Does it get 2020 in here? No, not yet. All right. Still waiting for him to put 2020, but it's got 2.1. All right. So the long-term rates are now 2.1. Literally 75% lower than what they were in 1983. So here's my thought process to you, amigos. Do you think that when they come up with a Social Security plan that they're going to allow delayed earnings credits to continue on at 8%? Do you think so? Could that possibly be on the agenda to reduce the delayed earnings credits because it's simply well without the Social Security? I mean, there's no money there. We know for a fact in 2034 or so, based on the intermediate assumption of Social Security, they'll only have enough to pay 70 cents on the dollar, 77 cents on the dollar. Now, it's not run out of money. We know that for a fact. We know we have enough money to pay 77 cents on the dollar from 2034 to 2092 or something like that. So stop this with Social Security is going bankrupt. Absolutely not. It just doesn't have enough under the intermediate assumptions to pay the full freight of the promises. Well, one of the reasons is the delayed earnings credits are so significantly higher on the obligation side of Social Security than what they're getting on the interest side on the money that they're receiving that they put in this black box, was what the Al Gore lockbox. So they're getting 2.1% on short-term money on 10-year Treasury bond, not even, but let's just say they're getting 2.1, but they're paying out 8% for delayed earnings credits. You see a mile away that when they have a new Social Security law, which they're going to reduce the DEC's big. I mean, it only makes sense, and they should. They should. The delayed earnings credits are paying way more now than they ever were intended because the interest rates have changed. So I would wait, man. That's for sure. You better get the garden going strong because of droughts. I hadn't heard droughts. We're getting big rain tomorrow too, as a matter of fact. Ooh, I just bought some super. What did I buy? Some soup. Oh, I've never had these before. Super 100 cherry tomatoes. Oh yeah, I can't wait to get these puppies. All right, let me just show you real quick. Oh man, I'm stoked. So I got 5 I'm getting the ground. Let me just show you what I'm gonna do. Oh man, it's a super. We're going to True Leaf, yeah, right here, trueleafmarket.com. All right. So this is where you can buy some quality seeds and stuff. So trueleadseedcompany.com. Oh man, we're going to look at Super 100. Oh, I can't wait to get these guys in the ground. Yeah, right there. I've never had these. I read these and I said, oh, and they're perfect for trellises where you can grow up. Right here, super sweet. Oh man, right here. Look at these suckers. Look at those. I mean, look at that. Look at that. Oh, just 65 to 70 days, non-GMO, super sweet hybrid. They're hybrid. Oh no, they're are very flavorful and uniformly shaped cherry tomatoes that grow in lovely clusters. Oh, anyway, you put them on a trellis. See, they got a bamboo stake right there. Oh man, I can't wait. So I just put some 1x1s. I just set these 8 feet 1x1s. I pounded them down, taking my anger out. They're about 7 feet high. tie them up with some string. I might put another 1x1 on top as a white trash trellis, and then I can hang these freaking strings from them. Oh, man, I cannot wait to go in there, just eat and eat and eat. Anyway, so Mountain Valley Seeds. I think these are some people are really, I don't know why. I think these are LDS folks, and I love it. I think they're fantastic. Some people are not keen on the LDS, so just FYI, if you're whatever. I don't know why you would care, but some people do. Like, oh my goodness, they're LDS. I don't get it, but whatever. But anyway, this is a great website, so I cannot wait to get those puppies in the ground. I just bought 4 today from Pike's Nursery, and I don't have any seeds for these guys, so I can't do my own seedlings. But trust me, I will. Oh, by the way, these are indeterminate. Indeterminate means they can grow and grow and grow until the frost comes, literally all year long. Just got to freaking prune them. You got to prune them. Oh, I can't. Anyway, all right, so let's keep going. All right, so there we go. Mel. All right. Mel says he's 60, he's retiring this year. No debt, sells residence in Virginia, moved to West Virginia. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, dude, that's fantastic. I think West Virginia is where it's going to be at, man. I tell you, West Virginia, get out of VA, move to West Virginia. Yep, I could not agree more. All right, how would you configure a $250,000 IRA portfolio for a 45-year-old concerned about current volatility? I would say, why are you concerned about current volatility? Let's see here. All right. Wife and I, here's William, make about, oh man, don't put your whole name on here, brother, and say how much you make. Oosh. All right. So wife and I make pretty good money. We're really concerned about not only taxes we pay, but the future of Biden. What appears like daily? Any advice on paying less taxes? Tons of advice. I mean, at the end of the day, I just tell people they need to have a brokerage account and don't get so sucked into the idea of taking deferrals. Like I have people paying putting 25% of their pay into their 401k. I said, don't do that. Take advantage of the match, and put the rest in a brokerage account. Pay tax on it now, man. But Josh, look, I put no money in deferred accounts, even though I made a lot of money the last 2 years. Trust me, I just got done paying my bill to Uncle Sam, and it was painful. But I also know I'll never hardly have to pay tax on these monies again. Why? Because they're in VTI. And VTI is an ETF at Vanguard. It's pretty much tax-free on the capital gains perspective, and it doesn't pay that much in dividends. I mean, it just doesn't. I think it's VTI right now is probably paying, I don't even know. Let's take a gander, shall we? I mean, they're going to get you one way or the other. And for me, because I'm self-employed, I'm paying FICA on both sides. But here, VTI. So right now, VTI is paying. It's got a dividend of 1.37. Wow. So if I had $100,000 in there, it'd be $1,300. So qualified dividends, tax at. I mean, for me, it'd be tax at 15. Yeah, I'm not sure. But anyway, let's just say it's taxed at 15%. All right, 15% on $1,300. Whoop-de-flip-and-do. And I'm just plugging away. You know what I'm saying? But you don't get the tax deferral. Yeah, because I don't trust the tax. I don't trust what the taxes are going to be in the future for the tax deferral. So I want to pay the taxes now. Now my VTV is in my IRA, be advised. So my VTV, which is still my biggest holding by far, is in my IRA. And I wish I would have converted that puppy. I don't see any sense to convert it and go into a freaking way higher tax bracket than I'm already in. That doesn't make sense. So I'm not doing that. And I'm just plugging away into my post-tax account, plug. I'll have some money in my pre-tax account when I hit retirement, and retirement would be, let's say 67. I'll get Social Security. Well, I won't take Social Security until I'm 70, but I'll have VTI in my brokerage account, which I can access pretty much tax-free. There'll be some capital gains in there, but you do have specific identification, which you can actually pick the shares you want to sell. So you can say, I'm going to pick the highest cost basis shares and leave the lowest cost basis to transfer with a step-up basis, because Sniffy Joe is not getting rid of step-up basis. There's just no flipping way. I'm just telling you right now. The real estate lobby is pretty significant. That's why That's why it's actually pretty amazing when Trump got the salt limits for the Northeast. That was actually quite amazing because the real estate lobby is huge and they're boisterous. At the end of the day, though, they're not getting rid of the step up basis. I mean, I would be stunned if they got rid of the step up basis. So for me, I'm like, all right, frankly, I don't even care because I'm going to spend all my money. And if I want to leave, if I leave kids money to my kids, that's great. If I don't, Charlotte and I, we're going to party like it's 1999 because basically from the years 60 to 70, that's it. After once you start hitting your 70s, you start slowing down. I mean, I know there are people who don't. I grant you. But there are many people who do. So you better be partying like you're 1999 between your years 60 and 70, because a good amount of you all are going to die in that decade. And a good amount of you, once you get in 70s and you're even in your 80s, you just don't do the same thing. So those are the 10 years. You got to freaking have fun, man. Oh, please. I was talking to a guy the other day. His sister and I can't remember. It was mom. Maybe it was his mom. I can't remember. Was sitting there messing with carpet on the ground, because she does some quilting or something like that. I forgot what she did. Or maybe she wasn't laying down carpet, but she was doing something with it. She was on her hands and knees doing something with her daughter with carpet. And she's only 62 on the ground and just like that, dead. Heart attack, dead. And she wasn't fat. It just happens. I don't know why God said, come on home, but he did. And I'm glory to her for being in heaven. But, at the end of the day, I wish, that we don't, I'd rather be with Jesus than anybody, I grant you. But with that said, I'm still a human being. I want to hang out with my wife too, if that makes sense. So if God takes me, I want to make sure that he takes me, obviously like a thief in the night. He could take me right now, but I'm hoping that he takes me after I had some time to party like it was 1999 with old Charlotte. So anyway, I do believe it makes sense to pay more tax today, in some regard, to have less in the future. I do. Now, it's part two of this. It is so much easier to pay more taxes when you have the income coming in from a salary job. I'm just telling you, we know this is a psychological thing that when you are working and making the money, it's easier to part with that money because you have that paycheck coming in than it is when you're not on a paycheck. I cannot stress this enough. The reason people spend less as they age is because they start gardening it more. Gardening, not gardening, but gardening it more because they're freaking worried, man. They're like, holy crap. What if I have no income coming in other than this in Social Security? So I don't think I need that, whatever freaking I was going to buy. I'll do just fine. That's why. It's not because they're going broke. It's because they're saying, I got to, protect the bottom line here. I don't have income coming in. So you pay the taxes now because from a philosophical, it's easier to do when you have the income. You're like, all right, this sucks, man. I got to pay the tax, but I have a paycheck coming in. I'll pay it down. Anyway, let's see. Harry says, I get a reverse mortgage just so the kids won't have to deal with the step-up rules or lack of. Yeah, no, we'll see what happens, man. I must have missed some retired 2019 stuff because my budget is $4K a month and an 800. Oh, so he's saying his budget is $4K a month. He's got 800,000 in his portfolio. So we take our trusty 4K times 12. That's 48,000 divided by 800,000. Oops, 48 divided by 800. That right there is only 6% withdrawal rate. That's that's fine. And then he's got Social Security and pension. You guys kicking butt. We got Sterling. My question: can you convert an IRA withdrawal to a Roth and a lump sum in January? Can you convert an IRA withdrawal to a Roth and a lump sum in January, then take a monthly withdrawal from your Roth even when taking RMDs? Right. Okay, so remember you can't convert RMDs to an IRA, to a Roth. So just keep that in mind. You can't convert RMDs to a Roth. What do you think about buying long-term health insurance? Long-term care insurance? Is that what you're saying? I'm assuming you mean long-term care. So I have it, Patty C. That's Patty Klein. Remember Patty Klein? What's that one song Patsy Cline did? Man, my brain is getting old. I got it on my tip of my tongue too. Patsy Cline. I forgot. Didn't do much for me anyway. I have long-term care. All right, FYI, I do. I have long-term care insurance. Both the ball and chain and I do, because we have one income for the most part. That's me, and we have 4 kids and a big fat mortgage. All right, so if our income went away because I had a stroke and needed in-home health care or even a nursing home, for heaven's sake, there's no way to pay for that. Because remember, the reason I don't recommend long-term care mostly is because people have a long-term care insurance solution and they sell their house. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, Patty, your husband dies, you're going to wipe his butt, take care of him while he's, old and demented. And then when he passes, you get old and demented, you go to a nursing home and you sell your home. It's literally that simple. It's no big deal. Well, we can't do that. I mean, where's Charlotte going to live? What the hell? You know what I'm saying? There's no there. So that can't happen. She's got to live someplace. So if I were to, and there is a number of people under the age of 65 who need long-term care that are under the age of 65. Not a significant amount, but a decent minority of people needing long-term care services are under the age of 65. So as a conservative-minded person I am, it's okay. And by the way, when you're young, I think we took it 10 years ago. So I was 40. Now I'm a 50-year-old freaking graybeard. When we took it, as cheap as can be, because the likelihood of us needing long-term care wasn't very high. And as such, the insurance is cheap. Now, it is on a thing where I can increase my benefit with a higher premium, if that makes sense. They call it the GPO. Off the top of my head, I can't remember. Guaranteed payout option, I think is what that stands for. And so it costs more and more each time I increase the benefit. When this sucker's paid off, I'm dropping it like a freaking brick. A hot brick. Is that what it is? A hot knife? I don't know what it is. I'm dropping it like a hot potato. Hot potato, I think. Because I won't need it, man. I mean, if it comes to be, the kids are out of the house, the mortgage is paid off. There's a lot of equity in this home. Theoretically, old Charlotte can sell this house for a pretty good amount of money. Put me someplace that she never has to see me again for $10 a day. And then every now and again, she could bring me flowers to say hi as she's run off the pool boy. And I'm fine with that, because I won't know my head from the hole in the ground. At the end of the day, though, once we don't have the obligations downstream to children or for the mortgage, we're dropping that without question. If one of us needs it, the other one can sell the house, take some equity, put the other one in their nursing home if they're needed, and just move on with our lives. The likelihood, by the way, of us needing a nursing home is not very high. Just FYI, it's just not just us, because me and Charlotte are so great. It's because the likelihood of you needing a nursing home is not that high. I'm telling you right now, it's just not as life-threatening as people make it seem. But why did they make it seem like that? Money. It's weird how money. Oh, by the way, so I was talking to a lady up in Maine yesterday. She's researching health insurance before she's 65. She went on the health insurance version of lendingtree.com. Literally, she got 30 calls within, I think she said, like 2 or 3 hours. 30 flipping calls. When I was talking to her, the phone was ringing. I was like, holy smokes. And she goes, yeah, there's a lot of competition in the market. I said, not competition, sister. It's a lot of commissions these guys are getting paid. I'm telling you right now. If you put on a thing that I want to shovel poop for a living, you're not going to get 30 calls, because there's not much competition, because there's just not that much money to be made without doing some manual labor. I was like, man, nuts. So just keep that in mind. Be careful. There's a lot of people out there who want that insurance business. I don't know what the payouts are, but just keep that in mind. All right. What with the goal of maximizing Obamacare, would withdrawing from a 457 plan be the best way to meet this requirement to get around 20? Okay, so basically, WFJ says, I want to get about $20,000 in AGI to maximize the Obamacare subsidy without having to go on Medicaid, not Medicare, Medicaid. So withdrawing from a deferred plan is the way to do that. Absolutely. All right, so we got about $10,000 in dividends and brokerage accounts, a little over $50,000 457 plan. After 55, what accounts can be used for withdrawals using the rule of 57, rule of 55? I'm not sure if your 457 plan could. Your brokerage account, you don't need to worry about it. That's for sure. All right. So we got, do I need to save money in a taxable account to use that for Roth conversions after I retire? You don't need to. I think it's a good idea, though, Malay. Absolutely, without question. So I think that makes a lot of sense, man. But I wouldn't say don't do Roth conversions because I don't have money in a taxable account, if that makes sense. Because I still think there's lots of benefits to be said. Remember, the point about what we're trying to do isn't, I mean, it's one thing to have the tax-free stuff. All right, so we got the three buckets. We got taxable, tax deferred, and tax-free. All right. So we got the three buckets. This is your brokerage account. What Malay says is your taxable account. That's your IRAs, 401ks, 457s, and that's your Roth. Life insurance would go in here too, but we're not talking life insurance. All right. So there's the three types of accounts that you have. What we want to do, and typically how most people are positioned, as am I, is that it's going to be like this. Your tax deferred account is your biggest account by far. Your Roth and your taxable account are, tiny. The point isn't that we want this. This is your Roth. We don't necessarily care that the Roth gets bigger. That's not the point. I mean, it's great if it does, but that's not what we're trying to accomplish. What we're trying to accomplish is we want to shrink this. All right. We want to get that guy, it's kind of like we want to let it out like a balloon, like shh, but we don't want to let it out. We want to let it out where it just kind of goes slow but surely. The whole point is, ultimately, I mean, the Roth is great. I mean, the Roth always is better than this, but that's the point is we want this guy to be reduced, especially before you take Social Security. And we certainly want to reduce by the time you take your required distributions. So don't get too caught up in, I need to have here, here, here. And I'm not saying my man here is doing that, but I'm just saying the point is we want the tax deferred money reduced in a meticulous way, but don't get caught up like I have to pay the taxes from a cash account or a brokerage account. Yeah, I mean, it's great if you can. I'm not even so sure about that, but the point being is we just want to start pricking that balloon a little bit. Each situation is different, but the more we can prick it, the better off ultimately you'll be in the long run, but not all the time. The lady's just talked to from Maine. Doesn't make sense to do any of this, man. Doesn't. She said, is there any way I can have a better tax thing? I said, you get married. And I was saying it kind of facetiously, but we got on the horn and we just kind of chuckled. And I said, no, don't do that. It was funny though, because we're talking about, marriage and, the other guy bringing on his own money and all this stuff. I said, yeah, at the end of the day, I was kind of being facetious, but given that he's got sizable deferred accounts and all that, don't do it. Lynn says, eyes, teeth, and ears, vital things are quality. Man, trust me, Lynn, my hearing sucks. It sucks. It's really bad. And I was actually buying my wife, went to Moe's today to get her. I can't hear in crowded places anymore. It's just nuts. I was talking to the lady and she was very, very nice. And I was like, dude, I can't hear you. Can you just, and she was nice. She goes, you got it, darling. Because in the South, they're pleasant. And she was an older lady. She goes, you got it, darling. And she spoke louder. And just in a crowded place, I can't. I just like loud music and I like loud firearms. That's all there is to it. So, in the Army, didn't wear stupid earplugs and you're firing M60 without earplugs. Not good. And then, of course, I like heavy metal and hardcore music. I've gone to a million shows with those big Marshall amps right in front of you. And you come out of those shows and you couldn't hear for 2 days. It was awesome, but now I'm paying the price. It sucks, man. And my wife's like, can you not talk so loud? I said, ooh, I thought I was whispering. Yikes. Oh, boy. And then eyes, too. By the way, if you're a prepper, man, I tell you, and I say this all the time, if you're a prepper, as well you should be, your number one prep item is your eyesight. You know that, right? And so if you're relying on Coke bottle glasses like what I used to have, oh, boy, if those get broken like Piggy in Lord of the Flies, you're doomed, man. I couldn't see crap. So I got LASIK. And we're going on in 2009. Yeah, so it's been going on 13 years now. And so, I still see good in the daytime. In the nighttime on drive, I got to wear specs, but in the daytime, I see good. So anyway, the long story short is, man, the best thing you can do as a prepper, if you're worried about, total chaos, mass confusion, rhymes so hypnotizing they might cause an illusion, you better get some LASIK. I'm just telling you right now. I tell my beautiful to do that. She goes, I'm not doing that. All right. So my man Ray C says he wants out. Would be better to take a larger initial distribution, my 401k to last until 59 and a half. All right. Or wait, or take what I need and just assume that. Why would you have to? All right. So you want out at 55 and you got your 401k. So remember, brother, that with your 401k and leaving it at the 401k and you separate it from service at 55, you don't have to pay that 10% penalty. So no, don't take a large initial distribution. Let's just say you need, I don't know, freaking 50,000 a year for 4 years, just for simplicity. Take 50,000 a year for 4 years. You're going to pay income tax on it, but as long as that money's left in your 401k, there's no 10% penalty because you're getting out at 55. Yeah, don't make this harder on yourself than it needs to be. So leave it in your 401k. Don't just take one mass account out. Dude, that's nuts, because then you got 200,000 coming out in one fell swoop is going to push you up in the tax brackets. Yeah, don't do that. 50, 50, 50, 50, 59 and a half, you're golden. Roll to an IRA and say, I'm out of here, boss. Well, I guess you do that 55. At 55, say, I'm out of here, boss. Now, one guy, or one video I did today, I was reading a Market Watch, and the guy said that his company only allowed him to take one withdrawal all at once, or he couldn't do it. I said, that's freaking nuts. So you'd have to find out if your company allows you to do that in increments. It's crazy if they don't. Eleanor, all right. How do you feel about 55 and over? That's a great question. So Eleanor says, how do I feel about 55 and over communities? The Villages, is that 55 and over? I can't remember. I think it is, right? And people love it there, man. I've talked to people as myself. I said, I can't see myself being in it, because we got kids all up and down here, and I freaking love them, man. Oh my goodness. We have an Indian, a man made her to a white girl up here before the cutest kids you've ever seen in your life. You just want to go snuggle them every time, which I can't do, or else I'd be called the cops on. But they're the cutest kids ever. They think I'm funny. Mr. Josh, right across the street, Mr. Josh. That just makes my heart melt at Mr. Josh. Kids down here. We just got some neighbors moving in here, 2 kids. So I sit there, I said, I can't imagine not living in a community with children. Because man, there's nothing better than the sound of giggles. I just freaking love it. Got some kids down here. When we moved here, there weren't that many kids for my own kids, which sucked. But now there's a lot more moving in, which is cool. I just can't see living in a place with no children. With that said, I've talked to a number of people who said the same thing, and now they're living in 55 and over communities. They love it. So, man, whatever rocks your boat. It's one of those things. It's hard to imagine doing it, but then again, I see some of the benefits too. And I know people love the Villages. Look, man, I've yet to talk to one person who doesn't like it there. In fact, I got an email I'm going to share with you right quick while I'm thinking about this. Tell me this isn't awesome. I'll probably do a video on her without letting you know who she is. But check this out. If this doesn't make you freaking fired up, regardless of Sniffy Joe, regardless of the World Economic Forum, regardless of the Great Reset, of the friggin' insanity of hating on CO2, then you got no soul. All right. I did it. I gave my COJ. So remember, COJ's crappy old job, a 2-week notice. I'll be retiring. It's all thanks to me and the great info you spread on your channel. So actually, let's thank you. As much as we have this love-hate relationship with YouTube, YouTube's been good to me. And seems like it's been good to her. So I thank y'all for being here and listening to my yapping. I love it, man. I love doing this crap. It's I was tired when I started this. Like, I tell my wife, man, maybe I won't do it. She goes, just do it. You already committed. It's all right. And I just get like, this is about the extrovert I get. And then after this, I get exhausted. If that makes sense. So I used to do seminars all up and down the East Coast. And I love the seminars. I hated when I was done, because I'm not a natural extrovert. I'm just not. I like talking to people, but once you do a seminar, you had all these people asking questions, all that. And then at the end, it'd be a lineup of people wanting to talk to you, just like, and it'd be just exhausting. And I'd be just exhausted. But anyway, so this gets me fired up. So check this out. All right. She says she's going to turn 61 in August. But remember, her pension won't start until she's 65, but should be a certain amount a month. That plus Social Security at a full retirement age will get her squared away. All right. She'll have enough in her 401k and to wait until she's 67 or 70 to take her Social Security. So she has 4 years. She'll need a bridge until her pension starts and Social Security. I will need to use what I have in my 401k, which is freaking perfect. Perfect. My expenses, including ACA, will be about $300 to $3,500 a month, and she's single. And I think that will give her some pretty significant premium credits, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure it's on here, but anyway. So she's going to get pretty good, and I can't remember if she has any cash, which she can draw on. Long story short, she's doing this perfectly. It's like the perfect plan. She got about 40,000 in Roth, and I think she has some cash as well. All right, yeah, 32,000. All right, so basically, she has 75,000 in Roth and cash. That will get her through for 2 years. Plus whatever she takes out from her 401k to make sure she qualifies for the ACA subsidies. Look, I hated Obamacare. I still do. It's nuts. But someone like her, I mean, I'm just telling you, look, you can hate the freaking the party that advocated the policy, but the policy is helping people. Rightly or wrongly, it is. Now, what sucks with Obamacare is it destroyed the private insurance market to get where we are. And that sucks. It's all part of the great scheme for national health care, man. I mean, they wanted to destroy private insurance as it is, but it seems like Obamacare is actually taken off. And because of that, I think it might be harder to get rid of the private insurance industry. I really, really do. I think what's going to happen is they'll go Medicare at 60, but more like a Medicare Advantage thing, which is vouchers. I was watching some video, Chris Westfall, somebody that I must have received 3 or 4 people email me that video. They says, they're trying to, what was he saying about Medicare? They're trying to change. I can't remember what it was. It was hard to follow, but I'm not have no problem making Medicare a voucher like program, not in the least. I 100. It's like the GI Bill. It's like Social Security. I love it. I think that's the way to go, and I think you'll find some serious efficiencies and cost reductions as well. I don't think they're going to be able to get rid of private insurance now because I think a lot of people are digging Obamacare, and to go from that to Medicare. I don't think so, man. But anyways, keep going. She says she thinks she should transfer 100,000 from her 401k to money market. 100% she should. All right. She'll hope to have 35 years in retirement, and she wants to leave as much as possible in the market to continue to grow. Right on. And then she moved to let's just say she moved to some place we're just talking about, paid off her house in a high cost of living place in the Northwest, moved to some place where we're just talking about, loves it down there, cash money paid for, no mortgage, low property taxes, no state income taxes. And in the fun and sun, tough life. But someone's got to do it, man. Tough life. Reduce her cost of living, loving it, has a orange tree in her backyard. I don't know. I'm just assuming that. Too humid for this guy, but man, living on $3,500 a month. I love it. All right. So is the federal unemployment here? Yeah, that's a great question, Bulldog. Yeah. And a bunch of y'all made a point that one of the reasons why these companies are desperate for employees is because people are sitting on their butts. Why would you want to work for whatever it is when you can, get 3/4 of what you're making working for free and not have to pay FICA and all that and not have to get up. But I never thought about it like that, but it's completely true. The society is bifurcated is where we're going. You're gonna have people that are okay with just getting by and people who want to strive for more. I'm not one of these grand conspiracists because I just don't believe that people have enough ability to conspire under the guise of darkness. Things leak. I'm not sure this even needs to be a conspiracy in terms of they're silent. I think there's a lot of openness. And I think what's happening here is I think it seems like maybe driverless cars are not coming anytime soon. I thought they were, but I guess that sounds like that might not be. But the robots, in terms of doing a lot of this stuff, I think is probably even sooner than we anticipated. And I think the grand scheme of things would be to get people who normally did that role to just get used to UBI, used to essentially Medicaid, Section 8 housing, and just video games and other stuff. And then the robots will take over their jobs. And then there will still be a place for other people who want more, for sure. But I think I just think this is probably the grand scheme of things. And the more I think about this, the more I don't think UBI or unemployment is the same thing, is going away, because I think it's part of the design. We want to encourage people not to compete for jobs. We'll pay them a little bit just to keep them, bred in circuses. There will always be a group of people that get value out of labor. Seems like that group of people is less and less, frankly. But there's also going to be a bunch of people that aren't getting value out of labor, who are hard workers, but they could do another thing instead. And that's where I think there is something to be said about Obamacare, and even a little bit UBI potentially, to get people to say, okay, I can quit my crappy old job and go do something I want to do, knowing full well I can still pay the rent, if that makes sense. Anyway, I think this is the grand scheme of things where we're going. I absolutely do. Yeah, we know we got machines and robots that can pick, cherry tomatoes. We know that already. They're already out there. That can weed farms, things of that nature. I mean, it's coming, man. I was watching a video today, some guy, I think in UK or Ireland, and they had this huge Amazon warehouse, huge. It was crazy, and it's just a real quick one. And I guarantee you there are robots all over that place. Is that a bad thing? It can be. I don't know. You think about it. 100 years ago, you go to your freaking machine shop, you type in, you got 15-minute break, the whistle, you plug in, and you go to the bar and drink some beers and do it again the next day. Were they more inclined for labor back then? Well, yeah, because there's no safety net. There's no other way to do that. Were they harder than we are today? Yeah, absolutely. From a physical labor perspective, were they freer than we are today? I don't think you can argue that. I don't know. I don't think so in the least. And I was listening to some guys, more right-leaning. I'm like, you guys, I get it. There's a more salt of the earthness of, the previous generations, but that was, they had no choice. They could not engage in social justice warriorship. You see, there was no ability to do that. Now we have it so good, we can do that and still get money and still have healthcare and still have housing. Back then you couldn't. So they were harder, but they're harder because their situation made it so. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if that's necessarily good or bad. I just think it is. And as such, to sit there and say, oh, it's better in the old days, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure it's not. I don't know. And I certainly don't think, oh, but they're more Christian. Well, were they really? I don't know. I'm not at all negative on Christianity. I think Christianity is right where it should be, which is more and more people who are Christian recognize we're on the outside looking in now, which is a wonderful place for Christians. It seems like there's a guy, let's see, like 2,000 years ago, some guy came around and initially he was welcomed and they threw like palms at his feet as he's walking to Jerusalem. And then a couple of days later, I think they like crucified him and stuff like that. And all his followers said, we don't know who he was. Seems like that was like a historical event. Like he was definitely not on the inside. He was definitely on the outside. And the biggest, like C.S. Lewis says, the biggest threat to Christianity is the church itself. And I completely agree. So I don't think it's going away, man. I think it's here to stay. And I don't know if that's good nor bad. Frankly, all I know is that for you specifically, you got to make it good or bad for you. And I think one of the ways to do that is just learn some skills. And that doesn't mean just necessarily become an electrician, but, learn how to maybe put some solar panels together, learn how to grow some food, learn how to water. I think a lot of people overlook the need for water. One of the things we learned in Texas, as I was talking to many people down there over this vast polar vortex, is the lack of water. No one was prepared for that, the lack of water. And so, your plants need water, you need water. So we're going to get that source of water. And I do think that's important for sure. Secondly, I think as you know, I was thinking about this today. I almost did a video on it. I just forgot. But I was sitting in where was I sitting at? I was sitting at Moe's, getting Moe's for the beautiful, right? And these guys from Sawney, probably shouldn't have said that. Did I say this already? I can't remember. Maybe I did. Was it Moe's? Anyway, these electric linemen essentially came in from the local utility. I said, "Hey, man, I'm buying you lunch," and it was a joke because I pay them $200 a month for my electricity, and they got the joke. My wife said, "You should have bought him lunch." I said, I should have. I didn't think about that because I was just kind of joking. She goes, "Oh, yeah, I thought you would have." I said, "Man, good point." Anyway, the point being is I was in Costco, which is closer to the epicenter of Atlanta, and I'm in Moe's, which is going into Forsyth County, which is the beginning of Forsyth County, which is starting to get further away from the epicenter of Atlanta. So, I'm in Alpharetta. It was actually Milton, but Alpharetta, then you got Roswell, then you got Marietta, Sandy Springs, whatnot, and then you got Atlanta. The closer you get down there, I guarantee the more masks you see. The further you get up here, the less masks you see. So no one was wearing masks. It was awesome. Even some of the workers weren't. And it was like freaking hallelujah. This is in Forsyth County. Now in Fulton County, again, everyone's masked up. Now I live in a pretty hoity-toity area of Fulton County. So you think we'd be Republican and we're not going to listen to those fools? Because I think a lot of hoity-toity people the one thing they have lost is their faith. They're really, and I'm not saying everybody, but I mean faith like they are of this world, as Jesus warned us of. It's crazy. And they want to control the risks that they can't control. And they think the coronavirus they can control by wearing masks, if that makes sense. You can't. And I think on top of that, and then you go down. So we have a wealthy group of people who are like, I'm of this world. I'm loving this world. I don't want to risk this world for whatever. I'm going to do whatever I got to do to stay safe. I literally think that's what's happening in the hoity-toity suburbs of a deep blue city like Atlanta. Then you go down there, it's nuts. It's freaking, it's Bolshevik town. You see what I'm saying? You will listen or you will go to jail, essentially. And it's just, so anyway, I think the point being is for me, and that's what I tell my wife today, and she doesn't need me to say this, but once we're going to wait for our kids to get out of school, we're going to move out. I think the freedom, this is again, bifurcated is where you're seeing the people, closer to the urban centers are mass Nazis. People away from the urban centers are freedom lovers. There's no other way around that. It's just funny. So these guys from Sawney, the boots on and stuff like that, just white guys, working linemen and stuff. Just your typical guys who are freaking just doing work to keep the place running. No masks. It's just awesome. I loved it. And anyway, the point being is that I think ultimately the bifurcation of the society is going to be the people who are wanting freedom and allowing it freedom are going to be out more, and the people deeper are going to be are willing to be led, and they're willing to be told what to do as long as they get that steady fix of safety. It's sad, man, but it is what it is, and no matter what you do to gripe about it, doesn't change things. So for me, I just said to my wife, we got to get the hell out once the kids are out, because I don't want to be part of this anymore. And we've been in hoity-toity suburbs, going on 15 years now, and it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. And when we lived in Dayton, Virginia, it wasn't like that at all. People just, never mind the mass stuff, but people just is a, freaking just 3-bed, 2-bed rent, 1,200 square foot ranch everywhere. No one had hardly anyone had 2-story houses. No one had pools. Everyone did a garden. Everyone drove an older truck. Everyone shared. We had Christmas, down at the local town hall where we sang Christmas songs, and it was just like a Norman Rockwell thing. And those times are still out there. You just got to find them, but they're not going to be in your hoity-toity suburbs or your inner cities. Not the extent that what a freedom-minded people want. Anyway, sorry about that. It was going off. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Charity is no part of the legislative duty to the government. Well, that's great. I agree, but guess what, man? It's here. Healthcare and retirement is an issue for everybody. They'll make it so anyone can be a doctor. I completely. That's kind of like anyone can fly a United airplane, if you know what I'm saying, Homer. Go to Cuba for healthcare. Yeah, you hear about Raul just stepped down, and now they got some other con in there. So no more Castros. I wonder how long it's going to be for because Venezuela's done. You know, Chavez died many moons ago. Maduro's a clown, but Maduro's got the and Biden's. See, the scary thing what we see with Castro, with Venezuela, what we see with all these dictatorships is they always in Turkey with Erdogan, they always do the same thing. They get rid of the what they think are the military commanders who are not loyal to the president, El Presidente. And they're doing the same thing in our military. Our military is woke as woke can be, my friends. I hate to say it, as a veteran, there's no hope in that regard. And I tell you, all these people say, well, the military will do what they're told. That's all there is to it. It's sad. But it's been like this for a while. When I was in the Army, there's a big thing. They want to have blacks as NCOs and never mind officers. Big thing. And I remember I had a captain. There was two guys. One was staff sergeant, and one was my captain, company commander. They were like, dude, they weren't putting up with that crap. But but it was coming down more and more that you had to get more black NCOs and infantry units. There's just not that many blacks in the infantry. They're just not. And these guys are kick your butt, take your names. But the idea that anyone's kind of like Clarence Thomas, the idea that Clarence Thomas isn't a genius because he's somehow an affirmative action baby is nuts. The same thing with these guys. But that was back in early 1990s, late 80s, early 90s. The military was looking for, we got to get more blacks in command. And even back then, it was like, what? It was nuts. And I'll never forget that. And anyway, I've always heard this. I can't stand it. Oh, the military is the best place for people. They don't care what color you are. They're all green. That's not true. I don't know who says this. At least not in an infantry. It might be in, I don't know, freaking a motor pool. An infantry unit wasn't like that at all, man. I'm just telling you right now. I mean, at least in my units, but I don't know, maybe it was just Fort Drum. I don't know. But the idea that it wasn't no racial tension in military units, when you're out in the field, maybe not so much. But when you're back in the barracks, there's tons. It was this whole thing. Like the military is the epitome of what do they say? The military of you get promoted, because of your skill set. No, military, they don't look at race up. That's freaking bull crap. I hate when I hear that crap. I was listening to J.D. Vance, who's a Marine, went to Iraq, talking about that with Viva Fry. And I was like, that's at least my unit was not like that at all. It's nuts. And I'm telling you, I've talked to many people in other units, the same thing. So maybe the Marine Corps is different. I highly suspect probably not. But, I was surprised. I hear that all the time from many people, like in the military. And I was like, sad. Cornbread's calling out for LeBron James. Yeah, soy. All right, so Patty says we got to address drug prices. Americans go to Mexico, pay pennies and nickel. Yeah, Patty, 100%. So we are subsidizing Mexicans, Canadians, Europeans for cheap drugs on our money. It's insane. It's insane. We're paying the pharma. We're subsidizing so everyone else has cheap and we have to pay more. What the hell's that about? Now they'll say, well, Josh, if they don't make profits, they're not going to have the drugs. I'm like, okay, well, can't we maybe do something about us subsidizing other countries from getting cheap products from our R&D, research and development, where we got to pay the bill? What the hell, man? I tell you, this is where the Democrats and Republicans, other than the Trumps, can all kiss my big fat behind. They don't care. I sit there and say, look, man, it was like I never watched that stupid movie, The Matrix, but when I saw Obama doing the same stuff as Bush, and I did not like Obama. I voted for Sarah Palin, and I did thought Mittens was better, and it turns out I'm probably glad he lost. But anyway, at the end of the day, I saw Obama and Bush the same thing. In fact, at the end of the day, Obama would have been better than McCain. McCain was a clown. And in fact, if hindsight, I would have voted for Obama over McCain or mittens, that's for sure. But I voted for Sarah Palin, not for McCain. Anyway, long story short, it's all the same thing, man. All the same thing. They don't care. None of these guys care about regular Americans. They don't. They're sitting there saying, I mean, they want all these illegals coming in for cheap labor as if Americans, the whole thing was nuts. And then on top of it, what was the thing with Bush? Then all these states, they give you in-state and tuition if you're a legal immigrant. They give you affirmative action. All this, I mean, all this stuff is nuts. And you're sitting there thinking, this whole thing is insane. And so we're subsidizing R&D, research and development, so big pharma can get rich, and then offload the cost to us, the taxpayer. And so these other countries who benefit from our military presence in Germany and Japan and South Korea and all these places who hate us anyway, can turn around and freaking get rich off our largesse while we're all paying higher taxes and higher prescription drugs and higher health insurance. And all these countries say, well, they do in Europe. Well, hell yeah, they do in Europe because they don't have a military defense because we support them. And Joe Biden and George Bush, at least Trump tried to do something about it. They don't do it. I mean, Donald Rumsfeld, remember, he tried to get us out of Europe. I thought that was great, but that was a freaking fail because they don't want that, man. They're all part of the same unit, and it's not for us. It's frustrates me no end. I'm sitting there thinking, oh, high prescription drugs. Well, someone's going to take care of it. Who, when, where? Well, the only guy who was trying to do it was Trump because big pharma, big labor, big business, big education, big ag, it's all the same thing. Real estate, I mean, Mary's in here, but I tell you, the real estate lobby is huge. Some of these people say they're going to get rid of the cost basis on real estate. I said, no, they're not. Real estate lobby is way too powerful for that. I'm just telling you right now. So they're not going to get rid of the step-up basis on real estate. It's not going to happen. Maybe for $1 million over, I don't know. But from a step-up basis on real estate, from a step-up basis as a whole, it's not happening. Certainly on real estate, it's just not going to happen. Anyway, the point being is, these guys don't care. They don't care. I don't know what the end game is, but it's not for us to get affordable prescription drugs that we paid for R&D that big pharma generates and makes money off. It's crazy, and they're all the same, man. But taxes. My hell, the cost of prescription drugs is a tax hike. Do you not see that, my friend? Everyone's like, taxes. What are you paying right now for prescription drugs? What are you paying right now for health insurance? What are you paying right now for all these other things? That is a tax increase. It doesn't say it on a 1040 taxes, but it is. And yet all these other people, just nuts. Anyway, my man just texted me. It's kind of funny. He was thinking about Portugal. It's funny, and I'm not moving from America. I love America. I got an American flag tattooed on my arm. I'll never leave. They'll never let me in any other place. But I'll never forget. I was talking to this guy about a year, maybe 2 years ago, and I was looking up where he's thinking about Portugal just on Google Maps. I love Google Maps and the Google viewpoint, and just seeing you're right by the beach. Some people skinny, they got chickens running around the streets. They got the beach, not like the beach, like, oh man, luxurious beach, but just regular beach where you're fishing off and stuff. I said, man, there is something to be said about that kind of life. You know what I'm saying? And look, I get it. It's easy to say while you're sitting in your hoity-toity suburban area, but there is something to be said about, maybe we did sell our soul for a little bit too much, right? That we said, hey, we want all the good stuff. Maybe there would be a meeting halfway to say, we got it pretty good. Maybe we got it too good. Maybe we sacrificed some of the too good to go back a little bit, not too far, in terms of just going back to a little bit more normalcy because we got it pretty good. I think the one thing we have to do is call other countries on our account and say, you got to fund your own defense, man. We're not doing it anymore. We're out of all these countries. World War II was many freaking years ago. The Nazis aren't taking over Germany. The Russians aren't taking over Germany. It's not happening. The Chinese might take over South Korea. Oh, okay. And the Chinese might go into Japan. Oh, okay. It's not up to us because we got no money to fund these guys. It's certainly not up to us to send Americans over there to die to prevent freaking the Chinese fascists from taking over. At some point, people got to grow up, man. And I mean, you got Dwayne. Love your videos. Keep up the amazing work. You got Julie. Was the least risky stock index by Vanguard, short-term bond index. Sup, Victor? Victor says, sup. I say, what's up back to you? Right on. Julie says she loved the barbell video. All right. Pulverizer says, Vanguard raced their stuff on risk level 1 to 5. What's my opinion on those collecting unemployment, not searching for a job? I think we already talked about that. I have seen Devin Carroll's course. You didn't see my email on that? I sent an email. I am an affiliate of that, Mary. I am. So if people sign up for his course through my link, I get paid. I don't know how much I get paid. I haven't got paid anybody on that. But I think that's I think he charged $147 as a 14-day money back guarantee. I think everyone should sign up for that for sure. Simply because if no one knows anything about Social Security, Devin knows a lot, and as such, you put those 2 and 2 together, $147 to have a better understanding of it. That's money well spent. This isn't tie-dye. It's my Ireland shirt my wife got for me when she was in Ireland. We're Irish. We're Northern European mutts. Actually, my wife has some Iberian Peninsula in her. That's for sure. She is camera shy. Oh, that's talk about. Oh man, we all that a rare appearance, right? Oh, tie-dye for her. I got you, man. Am I that far off? All right. So, how will increasing the capital gains tax on the rich not going to affect the middle class indirectly? If I had a tax bill and it was going to double, I would get out and invest my money elsewhere. Okay, where are you going to invest elsewhere? No, that's the point. Where? All right. I loved how she ran the door, slammed it. She did. I am a lucky man, Carl. Let me tell you. Certainly not because these pearly yellows that got her. That's for sure. Oh boy. Cute Humor says, my wife does the same thing when she leaves for work. She rolls her eyes and leaves. Hey. What are my favorite retirement investment websites, YouTube sites? Advisorperspectives.com. That's my favorite investment website just because there's a lot of crap on there, a lot of paid stuff, which you can tell is paid, but a lot of the people I follow are on Advisor Perspectives, JJ. YouTube channels. Who do I love my man Jazz Wealth. I don't watch that many because this is my line of work, and frankly, most of these guys bore the hell out of me. So I watch mostly gardening channels and mostly like truther channels, if that makes sense, where I just like, I just watch a lot of, right-wing libertarian stuff, like I said earlier, Ice Age Farmer, my man Curtis Stone, the Urban Farmer up there. I watch a ton of gardening channels. So let's just take a gander. Devin Carroll, Jazz Wealth, Dustin Tibbetts over Jazz Wealth, big fan first time. Devin Carroll, like him. I watched the Minority Mindset guy. I forgot his name, the Indian guy. I like him. Meet Kevin. Every now and again, I'll watch what he's talking about. I like Meet Kevin. I think a lot of people are down on him. I like him. He's all right. Let's see here. Let's go to history. I'll show you who I Turtle Boy, that's my favorite. Turtle Boy, Aiden over at Aiden Kearney. If you're in Massachusetts, vote for Aiden for school committee. I watch Outkick, Clay Travis, Outkick the coverage. LDS Prepper, Viva Frey, Brett Weinstein, Finn McKenty at the Punk Rock MBA. I watch Income School, Sticks Hex Hammer, Tony Heller, Officer Tatum, Matt Antonelli. I interviewed Matt. He's was an MLB baseball player. Vernon Coleman, I like, except he is down on fats, and I don't like that at all. Big fan of Vernon Coleman. The People's Pundit, the Lotus Eaters, Red Tool House, Dave Smith, Salty Cracker. Ooh, Salty Barricade Garage. Tiki O, who does a lot of microgreens and stuff. Kang Star does tons of microgreens. Plant Abundance, a couple of y'all told me about him. Who else jumps out at me real quick? David Hoffman, big fan of David Hoffman. Jason, my man Jason Proctor over at Fighting Words Financial. Uneducated Economist. I like my man Simon at Uneducated Economist. Young Ripa. I am organic gardening. I don't really care two craps about organic. Oh, then Gothics. I do like her. I'm relatively new to her channel. Big fan. Zeus the Stubborn Husky. I got so much freaking crap on here. It's nuts, man. Ryan Long, like him. The Utah County Swillers. If you like some crazy rock that's almost bluegrass, freaking frantic rock is awesome. 666 Mr. Doom, if you like your stoner metal, as I do. 666 Mr. Doom. Nick Johnson, big fan of Nick Johnson with Mappy. Anyway, so I like lots of stuff. Rebel News. Oh, my man, I forgot his name. I interviewed him. Money in Life TV. Yeah. Engineering. I don't really watch Engineering Explained that much anymore. It's weird. These things kind of ebb and flow. Oh, Homegrown Veg. My man, Homegrown Veg. Lots of stuff. Mr. Thessalonian. Yeah. Black Conservative Patriot. Oh, man, right? Reyes the Entrepreneur. I haven't seen him. So here's Reyes the Entrepreneur. $5,000 a day selling Mexican candles. How much a window tinter makes in one day. 5 real ways to grow a bit. Looks like he's lost some weight too. All right, cool. Pros and cons of a trash removal business. Oh, man, I haven't watched him for a long time. I got to watch him. Anyway, I just love, I don't believe in UFOs. I just don't care that much. Hey, thanks, Lewis. Much obliged. So Lewis gave me 5 schmackers. Appreciate it. Lynn says my wife is cute. It's like watching a play. Yeah, she's smoking hot, man. Oh, love my wife. Is there a sector in Japan that's held up better than that? Man, I don't have any idea. Sorry, man. Oh boy, he's a feces. You got me. All right, so Lewis, who gave me 5 schmackers, says he has a traditional IRA, 401k, or TSP. He's converting 10% each year to Roth. I can afford the taxes, but trying to stay under the 20% bracket. Well, there's no 20% bracket. So remember, it's 22 and 24. I keep in my funds in the same type of funds. All right. Looks good. Dougie B, you can change your avatar. I've heard rumors that the market will take a hit if Biden's proposed capital gain increases are enacted. Do you have any thoughts on the likelihood of the market taking a hit if Biden has his taxes increased? Yeah, I'm just because who was saying that? I think it was back me, Kevin. He's saying it can't be retroactive. It's like bull crap. Do you not know what happened in 1993? Clinton's tax increases were retroactive. Republicans sued. Supreme Court ruled in favor of Clinton. Of course, it can be retroactive. Can it be retroactive to previous years? I don't think so, but certainly can be retroactive to the same year. We literally had that happen in 1993. So if it were made retroactive, then you sold you're stuck. If it was not made retroactive, then you would want to sell this year to take some gains off the table, and that would lead to a market sell-off, 100%. But I mean, the idea that all of a sudden people say, "Oh my goodness, he's really doing it." I mean, look, man, the Democrats have been talking about raising taxes for a long time, so it is what it is, man. Nothing you can do about it. I mean, market corrects. Who cares? Look, at the end of the day, we've had 12 straight years of a tiny 33-day bear market. In fact, when the true bear of that was only like 10 days. That's it. We had a correction. Q4 of 2018, Q2 of 2015, Q3 of 2011. That's it, man. So we're going on 13 years of nothing but nuts. So look, we're going to get a bear market, a correction at some point. Who cares? I don't care. The only people who should care are people who are taking money out of their portfolio now. Well, hopefully they got 3 to 4 years of cash on the side just so they can spend that down before taking from their portfolio. But I literally could care less. In fact, if anything, I'm glad. The lower the price is, the more I pay. So the more I buy, dollar cost averaging. Yeah, forget the rumors. I mean, yeah. Oh, so Lynn's saying I'm a nerd? What? Nebraska. Will the Cornhuskers ever put together a national? Not until they get Turner Gill. They got to get Turner Gill back at quarterback. Remember Turner Gill? Thanks, Rebecca. All right, up. What up? When I retire, is there a rule I have to take my 401k and roll that to the money? No, there's no rule. So Kim says, when I retire, is there a rule that I have to take my work 401k and roll it? No, there's no rule. All right. Yeah, we talked. So he asked, Choming asked about what we talked about earlier about taking at 60, we're having your Social Security knocked around. We talked about pretty significantly. So we're going to move forward for that. All right. Don't you pay taxes on gains each year, though, on a 1099 if the money is in a taxable account? Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, Biden's doing infrastructure. Exactly. We need the raw and real Josh to show up. I thought that was here. All right, let's keep husband. Julie says, husband retiring from the feds. Should he pull from his TSP in one lump sum during Santa Claus rally or average withdrawals over 12 months? I just say take it. Well, when I say pull, you're taking money out to live on, not take it out in one lump sum. $8 million. I just say take it out one lump sum and just be done with it. Is this a Santa Claus rally? Well, when did it start? I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we've literally been in a bull market like we've never seen ever. It's nuts. So when did it start? Did it start? I mean, I guess you could say from 1982 to 1999, we had 18 years. So we're coming up on that, man. We're coming up on 18 on that. So when did the Santa Claus rally start? What's to say that to start 2016, 2009? We don't know. So I just take the money out one fell swoop, be done with it. Who cares? It's okay. I need $50,000 taking it out. I got it in the bank. I don't have to worry about it anymore. Wife and I retired, no mortgage, $350,000 condo, 120 in cash in the bank, 700K in a 401k, need 3K a month. Well, okay, I'm not sure what you're saying there. We'll start Social Security. Okay. Well, what's the best way to do with cash? I don't know, man. I mean, tough question there. Cash isn't doing much. All right. What's the South Dakota or all right? South Dakota versus Wyoming versus Washington versus Nevada. Well, definitely not Washington. I would think, I mean, look, I couldn't handle Wyoming, too windy there, but if I'm going out there, it's either gonna be South Dakota or Wyoming. Nevada's too hot, Washington's too liberal. Actually, Nevada's become a little bit more liberal too. All right. Yeah, I like a big fan of Gothics. Yeah. Ooh, I actually like Mexican food better than Filipino food. Never had Filipino food that I'm familiar with. Joseph Carlson has a great channel. Would I move back to Montgomery County, Maryland for $500,000 of cash? Niet. No flipping way. Not even sure if $500,000 would buy me anything in Montgomery County. Let's see. Yeah, the declining birth rate is going to destroy Social Security, and not only the declining birth rate, but less people on the payroll too. I think that's a big deal. I actually do. More and more folks are considering the U.S. for various reasons. I'm not sure I believe that. Let's see here. Prairie says, if she's not married to a Filipina, I might move to Mexico as well, but I love her land very much for the same reasons you like Mexico. Yeah, and Filipino women are freaking hot, dude. I mean, let's be perfectly honest with you. Look, a lot of Mexican ladies are hot too, but don't tell me you're overlooking the freaking insanely gorgeous nature of Filipino women. Yes, I get it. Mexican women are hot too. At the end of the day, though, you're already married to a Filipino woman, so come on, Prairie Mark. Don't give me all this altruistic. I just look at her heart. Yeah, I guarantee old Prairie Mark said, man, whoa, smoking hot. See, and when you got that base covered, now you can start looking at the food and gripe about the food in the Philippines relative to Mexico. Say, man, I should have married a Mexican lady. But guess what? You still did better than you deserve, Prairie Mark. Oh my goodness. Big fan, first time, long time. Florida just need air conditioning, right? And I'm sorry if that's offensive for you ladies out there who don't like that I'm looking at women and saying, whoa, that's a good looking lady. I hate to say it, but men look at women and say, that's a good looking lady. It's crazy. It's crazy, I know. But doesn't mean we don't look at your brain. But when I see that lady over there in my house, man, what the hell is she doing me? Oh, and she's like, I don't look like that. Like, I said, lady, you look like you're freaking 35 years old, man. Hell, 30. Oh, yeah. I was like, she put out 4 kids, all C-sections. What the hell? What's she doing with this guy? Nuts. But I still can appreciate the beauty of a woman. That's why I understand being gay. I mean, if you want to be gay, I don't care. But how? That's why I think it's got to be born. Because how can you look at a man and say, wow, that guy is smoking hot? Like, ugh, disgusting. When you look at that right there, compared to me, there's no debate. That right there, literally, you put a robot AI AI is walking down the street. I go by on the left, my wife goes by on the right. There's no way the AI is going to be like, I like him. He's better looking. The AI is going to be like, whoa, let me get a hug. Oh, there's nothing better than a good looking lady, man. I'm telling you. That's all there is to it. Doesn't mean if they're not good looking, there's nothing wrong. There's something wrong. No, it just means the appreciation of a freaking good looking lady who loves her kids, loves life. It's like everything is good with that, man. And I don't have any qualm admitting that at all. With that said, man, once you're married, as long as you're in a stable relationship and no one's punching and no one's doing all that stuff, you got to do what you got to do to stay in that relationship. If that means you got to give up drinking like this guy had to, well, you freaking give up drinking, man. You got a responsibility. Take care of that and take care of your kids. And you can't be freaking messing up with that. That's for sure. All right. Let's see. Yeah, exactly. You can't own firearms in other countries. Exactly. All right. Let's see. Looks like you got a bunch of Portugal is amazing, says Carl. I'm looking at expatriating too. Our rich journey for 40 years old who retired there. Yeah. All right. Looks like we got a lot of talk there. So good. Looks like you guys are chatting. I like that. It's good stuff, man. Good job. Good job. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't. Caitlyn Jenner running. That doesn't bother me. Look, I don't like the trans who are doing it just to be bullies, if that makes sense. And there's a definite, I'm not saying there's a majority, but there's and even Brett Weinstein and Heather Heying, who are big libs, say that too. And they're like, look, we've known trans a long time. What we're seeing now isn't true to the trans movement. And I don't like it. I think it's odd, but who might have said, what the hell? I don't care. But look, it's weird to me. I'm not gonna lie, it's weird to me. But at the end of the day, many things are weird to me that aren't weird to other people. So that's all right. I like weird music, man. I love freaking. Man, some of the music I listen to is gonna be weird to you. You say something wrong with that guy. Same with people's sexual preferences. Same with people. Everyone's got weird taste. But the problem with the trans movement is you got some bullies in there, and you got this lady that Biden put in. There's no way she did that other than she wanted to get accolades. You see what I'm saying? Or he? There's just no way, because he knew if she became a woman, she would be getting props that she would not have got otherwise if she remained a man. I mean, you could see that a mile away. I follow my man Turtle Boy, and there's a guy that he's suing him, as a matter of fact, that abused his 2 daughters, like physically abused them, and they both ran away. And then he's just magically showed up as a woman, and now he's in jail because the whole thing's nuts. And I'm like, well, now he can say he needs to go to a woman's facility because he's just magically a woman now. Like, what the hell is this? When does this stop, man? Now, Caitlyn Jenner, on the other hand, I mean, look, weird to me. I mean, here's Bruce Jenner. But, who am I to say? I just, it doesn't bother me that much. I don't like the bullying crap though. Like you say, yeah, it's kind of weird. Oh my goodness, screw off, man. I'm sick of that crap. This is a why, this is a minority viewpoint. No one's going to be beaten on it. I get it. Back in the day, gays were getting beat. I 100% get that. But that wasn't this lady who's running Biden's healthcare thing. That wasn't her. I guarantee that was not her. A lot of these people are doing it because for some reason it's politically expedient to say you're trans, and then you get all the love of as if you're fighting the man. Bull crap. I hate that crap, man. There are people who do take the bullets, and these ain't them. You see what I'm saying? And these are used. It's the same kind of thing with the Black Lives Matter crap. They're real black people who were abused, and you guys are just playing off what that was to get rich. No other way around that. No other way around it. And of course, there's tons of white liberals with more money than God that don't know what to do with it because they feel guilty, and they're willing to go along as long as they feel better at night. Like I'm helping black people. Going back to Turtle Boy, he had this blog post. These clowns in Sturbridge, Massachusetts, which is like all white. All these people are like, not all these people. There's these freaking woke whites who are going around to businesses asking if they support Black Lives Matter. If they don't say yes, they do, they're being targeted for harassment. And the funny thing is, we need diversity. We need diversity. And long story short, there's all these people had just moved to Sturbridge, like these this same-sex couple. From Connecticut in 2018, and the whole thing is like, well, if you want diversity, you could have gone over to Worcester. Lots of diversity there. It's odd that you went to an all-white town and that you say you want diversity. Why'd you move there? And I share with you a story too. When I lived in Haddonfield, New Jersey, and I was sitting at one of my kids' games, and some guy, an Air Force guy, came up. He's a retired Air Force guy. He saw my USA shirt on, and he said, "I said, so what do you think about Haddonfield?" He goes, "It's a great town. I just wish it was more diverse." And I went over there and said, well, you could have moved to Camden. It's literally right there. Camden is literally 5 miles that way. You could have moved there. It's very diverse. He goes, well, the schools. And I said, just don't play me, fool. You're just talking. If you want diversity, you could have moved to freaking Collingswood. It's right over there. And I said, don't. I said, yeah, it's funny how all the people, when I said this, and I said, yeah, it's funny how all the people want diversity moved to the least diverse place in New Jersey. Because Haddonfield is not very diverse. It's rich, wealthy-to-do white people. It's a great town, but I hate that virtue signaling. I just wish it was more diverse. And we had Bobby Clark used to live down the street from us. Chris Pronger was in our little league. That's these are Flyers guys play for the Flyers and stuff. This is not a working class town, and thus it's not very diverse, if you know what I'm saying. And I just sitting there, I said, don't feed me that bull crap, dude. You're freaking full of crap. You know it, I know it. You're just trying to virtue signal because you think I'm like you, and I'm not. All right. Yeah, I think that's right. Well, I don't think right wing and left wing. I think the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. All right, so I can get out of here, man. Yeah, I'm not big on Tulsi. I like her. She better come around on guns. I still, to this day, your guns are my number one issue. If you're not an absolutist on the Second Amendment, I don't have anything for you, and I don't think Tulsi is. That's the problem. I'm an absolutist on the Second Amendment, man, 100%. That is not debatable. In fact, it doesn't matter. I literally could care less when they pass. I will never, ever, 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 ever turn to my guns. You heard it here for posterity. Tell all your neighbors, tell all your friends that they're going to have to come after me and take my firearms. I will never turn them in. I know too much Russian history, and it'll never happen here. And if it does, it'll be, with a SWAT raid. There's no way I'm ever giving them up, because once you do, you never get them back. We've seen that a million times on Sunday. Do not let the flipping camel's nose in the tent. If you haven't learned anything from coronavirus, is once you give them 2 weeks, it's freaking 2 months, then 2 years, and you never get it back. You never get back. Do never compromise on guns. Well, bump stocks, screw it, I don't care. No, we're not doing any of that. Because once you compromise on one thing, they always come up, well, this gun is black. It has a folding buttstock. Oh, It has a flash suppressor. Oh, you don't need that to hunt. I don't give two craps what I need it for. I also need to have free speech, but I guess what? I have a constitutional amendment protecting my right to have free speech. As such, I have a constitutional amendment to protect my right to own a 5.56 or a 2.23 is what it is in the civilian terms. You know the size of a 2.26 round, which is an AR-15? It's like that. The bullet's like that. The damage done by a 12 gauge shotgun versus a 2.23 is like this. It's not even close. That's what actually got me off Facebook. I was like, people were arguing. I said, do you know how freaking stupid you are, you idiots, to say that? I said, well, you got to ban 12 gauges. Well, they're not automatic, because AR-15 is not either. Well, you can make a bump stock. Okay, I don't even know how to do that. We have one guy who did. What are you going to do? Ban the AR-15 because people can make a bump stock? There's lots of different ways to make an automatic weapon. I'm my goodness, but they still are illegal. I said, so what do we, well, the damage that can be done. I said, have you ever seen a 12 gauge? Well, we can hold by Mossberg. I think I can hold 8 12 gauge rounds in there. And it's like a semi-automatic for 8 rounds. Those things will tear you up a hell of a lot more fast than a freaking 2.23 will. And not just you, but everyone around you. Nuts. Yeah. All right. I can get out of here, my friends. Appreciate y'all being here. Good to see you. Yeah, right on. All right, I'm getting tired. Ooh, 10 o'clock. We're going to let you go. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Peace to the hood.